Story 1. We are like a family at work. Translation. Get ready to work overtime without pay. Story 2. I'm an empath. Because I am an empath. That is the difficult part about being an empath. Be quiet. Story 3. When someone says, I'm just brutally honest, it means, I'm just rude and want an excuse for it. Story 4. I'm just joking. Stop being so sensitive, especially since the joke was basically about how they hate you and everything you like. Story 5. They could never make this now. Calm down, it's Seinfeld. They make shows with violence, drugs, and sex now. I think an innuendo about being gay will be okay. Story 6. When I was a child, they said, when you grow up, you will understand. Story 7. Anything with the phrase alpha male makes me laugh. If you have to say it, the rest of the group obviously does not know. That is not how wolves work. They know which one is alpha. Go drop in a chute on a rodeo bull and then come back and talk. Story 8. Moving forward, in other words, this is what is going to happen. Story 9. Here is another message after a school shooting. My thoughts and prayers are with this community. Here is a thought for any members of Congress. I pray your child or grandchild is in a school that gets locked down because of an active shooter. I do not want them harmed or anyone harmed for that matter. I just want you to feel the anxiety of not knowing for hours whether your lack of action on gun laws has caused you personal anguish. It is all well and good if the worst happens to some constituents of some community somewhere because you offer your worthless thoughts and prayers. You need to feel it in the pit of your stomach with your wives wailing and screaming at you. Story 10. When people add the word journey to anything, like weight loss journey or mental health journey, I do concede that you can add the band journey to just about anything and make it better. Story 11. Nobody wants to work anymore. There was a man who said this on the new Gordon Ramsay show. He also said that he cannot wait until artificial intelligence replaces cooks and servers. He spent the entire episode being very rude to the staff and his wife. Story 12. It is what it is. Mostly because it is so often misused. It is supposed to be something you say to remind yourself to deal with current circumstances, but people often use it to mean, this is the way I want it, and I am unwilling to negotiate or compromise. Story 13. Vorsitzender hier, Lehrjahre sind keine Herrenjahre. Please be quiet. Do you really think I am not competent enough to even work on a car in my first year of mechanical training? Story 14. When people say the customer is always right in matters of taste, it is often presented as the real quote. However, there is no evidence that this was the original statement. Story 15. As a Christian, it is important to show kindness and respect in every conversation, even when the topic is not related to religion. Story 16. Everything happens for a reason is often meant to imply that everything happens for a good reason. However, that is not true. Tragedies like the Holocaust or other disasters happen for many reasons, but that does not make them good. Bad things happen frequently. It is unreasonable to pretend otherwise. Story 17. In my masculine energy. In my feminine energy. Any New Age crystal ideas like that. Also, healing journey. Story 18. Back in my day. Every time I hear that, it's going to be a snarky comment on how their generation was better. Story 19. That whole maturing is realizing trend that became so dark so quickly. Story 20. I do my own research. Usually said by someone who has no idea how to research anything. Story 21. Critical thinking is what I am doing when I agree with your opinion, apparently. Story 22. Just to play devil's advocate. No, Keith. Not only does the devil not need a lawyer, but we are also trying to solve problems here, not have someone state the obvious. Story 23. Work hard and you will have everything you want. No, I will not. I will not have time for myself, and my past will not be fixed. Story 24. Just be more positive. Try smiling. You cannot be sad all the time. And any other phrases in that vein. Thank you, my depression is cured. Story 25. It's heritage, not hate. Out of all the history and heritage of the South, why do you choose to glorify the worst 4 years? Story 26. Past your prime. Nobody is past their prime until they decide they are. Story 27. Woke. It does not make me roll my eyes. People's consistent misuse of the word at least alerts me to the fact that they have zero idea what they are talking about and are just repeating things they see online. Story 28. Fake news. Leverage. Cool beans. Anything essential. Grindset. Evil. Biological imperative. Where the rubber meets the road. Story 29. Do you know what you did? I hate when I get into trouble and people say this. I do not know. Tell me. Story 30. What I do makes a significant impact on the world. What do you do? None of your business. Story 31. Hi, my name is Name, and I am a vegan, carnivore, furry, or whatever you identify as. I just do not care what you are as long as you are a decent human being. Story 32. Don't roll your eyes at me. Well, don't say stupid things then. Story 33. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the affected individuals and families during this difficult time. Story 34. It will get better soon. Just smile and you will be all right. Story 35. That's just how I am. When they do not want to better themselves. Story 36. To be honest, this has been common knowledge for centuries. Why would lying about it even make sense? Story 37. The phrase is supposed to be, cannot care less. Could care less means you care, so it is possible to care less. Story 38. Pick me. I swear the number of times I see it applied to women who are actively bringing down other women to appeal to unpleasant men versus the number of times I see it directed at a woman for not actively hating men is 1 to 1,000. Story 39. You were 2 hours late and did not bother to let me know. Story 40. Here is my truth. No, there is actual truth, and there is your opinion of the truth, plus whatever problems reality caused for you. But we do not all get to claim a different version of what is true. Facts are facts. Story 41. As soon as possible used to mean just that, with an extra dose of urgency. Now, people say it because they want it immediately. At my office, people tend to get upset when you don't stop everything you're doing and take care of it right away. I am slowly trying to introduce the acronym REPLY for now. It is gradually catching on. These things take time. Story 42. That dress is very attractive. It gives off a confident and stylish vibe. Please stop. You are not a gay male fashion designer. Also, let's stop using the term baddie. It is very annoying. Story 43. Just love yourself. Or just work on yourself, brother. Your hippie, hyper-individualistic, Menhera-ass nonsense literally does nothing for me. Story 44. Any of the political buzzwords people use to make their point known. I immediately lose interest in any argument that starts with propaganda buzzwords. Story 45. Do you think you are pretty? I mean, I don't remember calling myself pretty, nor do I act like one in front of others. If you don't like me, that's your problem. If you feel threatened by my beauty, that's your own problem, not mine. Story 46. Not that I am against the wealthy paying more taxes, it is that the person saying it usually does not have a thought beyond tax the rich. They cannot explain what kind of taxes or how they would do it. Really any idea besides just tax them. After that, I ask them to define what they mean by wealthy. They usually mean people better off than themselves, with no realization that they are part of the top 1%. I have had people I know who are easily in the top 5% of earners screaming, tax the rich. The cognitive dissonance is astounding. Once again, to reiterate, I am not against fixing the wealth gap or the wealthy paying more taxes. I just expect you to have a little more understanding of what tax the rich means if you are going to scream your head off about it. Story 47. Tell me without telling me. It is a cliché now, and I cannot stand it. Story 48. Not a drag queen. Of course, I do not believe, like some people, that lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and others individuals are out to harm your children. However, it trivializes the event it is normally said in response to. While it is good that it tries to counter those who associate certain attributes with automatically being a predator, it pushes toward the other end of that spectrum rather than out of it. Story 49. Young. I have a child, so I cannot enjoy my salary. Like, what the heck? Is it our fault that he got married early? Story 50. You can probably still say that. There was no such thing before. I could go crazy. Story 51. Whatever used to seem too dismissive to me. Now I am getting used to it. Story 52. I am different from them. Yeah, only someone who is exactly like them says such words. Story 53. I am a local, and I come here all the time. Locals do not need to announce this, nor do regular customers. Story 54. Anyone who interrupts me, talks over me, and repeatedly repeats what they are trying to interject while I am talking is being rude. Wait your turn and work on your memory skills so you do not have to interrupt people while they are speaking before you forget. Get off the internet and improve your focus, retention, and communication skills. Communication is 50% listening. Story 55. The word literally is used incorrectly when the adverb is not required, or when actually is true. Story 56. At the end of the day, when it is all said and done. Story 57. Not going to lie. Well, I did not think you were going to lie until you said that. Story 58. Success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it. Henry David Thoreau. Opportunities don't happen. You create them. Chris Grosser. Don't watch the clock. Do what it does. Keep going. Sam Levinson. The harder you work for something, the greater you'll feel when you achieve it. Sales are contingent upon the attitude of the salesman, not the attitude of the prospect. William Clement Stone. Story 59. Everything happens for a reason. You mean like physics? Sure. You mean like this person died for some higher purpose for their survivors to make sense of? No. Story 60. Any smug, dismissive, or hand-wavy nonsense that people say when you prove them definitively wrong about something. I don't know about that. Well, I'm just saying. If you say so, well, that's just your opinion. Alternatively, anytime an older white Southerner calls me, boy. Story 61. I will not do that because I am a leader. Sure. Have fun with your crayons and fragile ego. Story 62. No offense, but I am sure whatever you are about to say will be offensive. Story 63. If I told you, I would have to kill you. The secret is not that special, and you do not have the tools to kill me. Story 64. I am just being brutally honest. No, you just like hurting people. Story 65. Momentarily means for a very short time. If you are about to start doing something, you are going to do it presently. Therefore, if you are asked when you will start doing something and that time is a few seconds or minutes from now, you will do it presently. If the thing you are doing will take a very short amount of time, it will be completed momentarily. Story 66. It's not rocket science. Listen, if you have to say that to me, it is beyond rocket science. Immeasurably far beyond it. There is no how to it. You just do it. I did do it, but you are telling me I did not. Therefore, there most certainly is a how to it. Attitude. Chronic complaints about my attitude are literally what made it bad or off-putting. You take everything too literally or seriously. This one is actually true, but I do not know how not to take things as seriously or literally as I do, and I do not know what can be done about it. That is just how my brain works. I do not like it any more than you or anybody else does. So please kindly be quiet about it unless you have legitimate advice or suggestions for remedying this situation. You never listen to anything or pay attention. This one is true too, but I literally do not know how to control my attention, nor how to ask for help with it without being verbally abused for even needing help. Story 67. Aura points. Anybody who uses this has absolutely none of whatever they think this is. Story 68. Well, bless your heart, means I think you're an idiot. Story 69. According to the Bible, the most blatant hate speech and inaccurate nonsense imaginable. I am not racist, but the most racist and bigoted slur-spewing nonsense imaginable. Story 70. It means that nothing can be done to improve or change a given situation. Story 71. It is what it is. Okay, Brad, thanks for the life-changing insight. Story 72. I hate when people say, blank incoming in 3, 2, 1. Story 73. I am living my best life. Good positive vibes only. Please leave me alone. Story 74. Saying that things are luxurious. You can just call it what it is, trashy. Story 75. Nobody thinks about you as much as you think about yourself. Story 76. At the end of the day. Long story short. I love her or him deeply. Story 77. I have been. Insert name. Are you not still unsure? Just tell me your name. Do not make this weird. Story 78. It is what it is. Such a pathetically complacent and meaningless statement. Story 79. I am not going to lie. It usually means they are going to lie. Story 80. They cannot help it when talking about problematic behavior. Story 81. The past is in the past. Anything before me does not matter. Your past shapes who you are and says a great deal about you as a whole. A lifelong partnership requires the ability to discuss sensitive and difficult topics like your past. It will inevitably force you to confront your partner's past at some point. Unless you have taken extreme steps to ensure no aspects of your past can be found by your spouse, which essentially means you are not being honest with them. Story 82. Is what it is becoming a cop-out. Why don't you just say, I really don't want to try anything else? Story 83. My friend told me, when I am in a relationship, I cannot even tell if anyone else is physically attractive. It is like I just do not see any other person. That sounds good, and I appreciate them not being a cheater, but it is not as impressive or realistic. Just because you are loyal does not mean your brain does not recognize something that looks good. It gave me I do not see color type of vibes. Story 84. I said what I said mostly because it is used after someone says something extremely stupid. Story 85. I will pray for you when they disapprove of something I said or did. Story 86. If you roll your eyes, you will win the jackpot in the next lottery. Story 87. I am insert astrological sign here to explain their behavior. Immediate eye roll. Story 88. Alpha male or female is just an excuse for aggressive behavior. Story 89. I am so obsessive-compulsive disorder. Pisses people like me off who have had obsessive-compulsive disorder their whole lives and know what a debilitating, overwhelming illness it is. Story 90. Failure is not an option. Failure is always an option. Expect it as a possible outcome and plan for it, or be prepared to fail harder if you do not. Story 91. Good vibes only. Toxic positivity is used to cover emotional immaturity and a lack of ability to handle uncomfortable situations and emotions, or to have any sympathy or empathy for anyone around you. Story 92. Classy. Used by people who are not about things that are not. Story 93. I agree with the I could care less answers, and I see it even more now than I used to. But what happened to eat your cake and have it, too? Everyone says, have your cake and eat it too. Think about the phrase and the meaning conveyed when it's said. Of course, you can have it and eat it. You can't eat it and have it too. That way actually makes sense to mean someone wants things both ways. Don't give me that what if it's a slice from a cake that's still left. I didn't coin the phrase, and the other way makes zero sense. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, used unironically, is a twofold error. Both misconstruing the purpose of the phrase and its intentional impossibility, and using it to be mean. Also, before anyone brings up the fact about the Unabomber and eat your cake and have it, too. And a fun fact about how I just used factoid wrong. Story 94. Do better. Meaning be more aware, more compassionate, less bigoted. Story 95. Two wrongs don't make a right. Of course, they don't. Story 96. Not going to lie, so you have been dishonest until now? Story 97. To assume makes an ass of you and me. Or whatever it is. I cannot stand it. Story 98. See the forwarded email chain below. There is no summary or indication of the topic. I have to read dozens of emails from bottom to top to understand what they are discussing. Story 99. Anytime someone uses a cliché to argue, just stop. Story 100. Just between you and me, how many people have you said that to? Story 101. Do as I say, not as I do. I roll my eyes and lose all respect for anyone who says this. Story 102. You know the definition of insanity, right? Go climb a wall with that insufferable nonsense. Story 103. Let that sink in. On so many levels. I appreciate you. Ugh. Story 104. Are you working hard or hardly working? I was asked as I paused to take a drink of water after a 13-hour shift. Story 105. You should buy this stock rapidly. It's a salesman's cliche. Story 106. Narcissist. Of course, some people are narcissistic, but now everyone calls others narcissists simply for having an opposing opinion. Story 107. Thoughts and prayers. God does not give you more than you can handle. Story 108. When management says we will have to do more with less. No. Thanks to the hiring freeze and cuts, we have less. Therefore, we will be doing less. Story 109. Did you know the United States of America is actually a republic, not a democracy? Story 110. Let that sink in. Sir, nothing that you have said is so extreme or revolutionary that I need extra time to absorb the information, so can we just move along? Story 111. I have two. Making memories. You have memories, you don't make memories. Making memories is a social media advertising pitch. Most memories are things that happen spontaneously or serendipitously. It might have been a birthday party or a cookout. You don't really remember. What you do remember is meeting the friend someone brought along who later became your wife, except she doesn't remember meeting you. Forever home or forever anything really. Again, it's the setup to a sales pitch. Life is full of surprises and upsets. The idea that you can see the future and live happily ever after is a fairy tale. Yes, it's important to think about the future and plan accordingly, but it's more important to live in the moment. Story 112. At the end of the day, girl, be quiet. At the end of the day, it is nighttime. Edit. To whoever downvoted me, you are unpleasant. Story 113. You are gaslighting me. Just because I disagree with what you are saying does not mean I am systematically trying to make you think you are crazy. You are being abusive. Again, just because you do not like what I am saying does not mean I am abusing you. When I asked my house guests to please remove their shoes at the door, I was told that was controlling behavior and low-key I was abusive. I spent the first 19 years of my life being brutally abused physically, sexually, and emotionally by a family member. Every day was a fresh hell, and I wet the bed every day until I was 19, when I was finally able to remove myself from the situation. To have those words used against me by some people who do not know what real horror is makes me want to give them my family member's address and let them know they will have a difficult time there. Story 114. When someone posts for the 100th time on AskReddit. What is a phrase people use that instantly makes you roll your eyes? Story 115. Literally, and drumroll please. Like. Story 116. Blood is thicker than water. You do not even understand the entire passage. Please be quiet. Story 117. Any of these excuses drivers say, no victim, no crime, no laws were broken, medical emergency, they do own the road, poor road design, poor and confusing signage, blue-collar worker transporting tools, mind your own business, but I pay road tax. Officer, he just appeared out of nowhere. You really never once made an infraction on the road? It was only a mistake. Witch hunt. Drivers who obey the law are dangerous because they are unpredictable. Speed limits are only suggestions. Maximum means minimum. You can't drive and look at your speedometer at the same time. If you place so much trust in the law that it overrides your own judgment, you shouldn't be driving. What about that time I saw a cyclist ignore a stop sign? Define bad driver. Whatever, law enforcement supporter. You should have established eye contact. But I highly doubt you know the Highway Traffic Act back to front and every rule and regulation. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.